Hello, and welcome to FuturesNW Student Speaker Series, where we share stories by students for students from students. We believe that students are the experts at navigating tricky post-secondary systems, and their stories have the power to dismantle secret handshakes that are barriers for first-gen students succeeding in higher education. In this series, you'll learn about critical resources and hear inspiring stories of students who have persisted and found belonging, community, and ultimately deep pride for what they have accomplished. Today's guests are Cynthia and Sarah, current Western Washington University students, here to talk with us about the College Bound Scholarship. Hello, welcome Sarah and Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi.
Hello. So can each of you start off by doing a brief introduction, give us your names, your preferred pronouns, and what year you are in school, as well as what your favorite food is?
Okay. Hello, my name is Sarah Ounniyom. I go by she, her, hers. I am a fourth-year student at Western Washington University, and I'm majoring in human services. My favorite food is probably eggs Benedict and pho. But yeah.
Delicious. Thank you.
I'm Cynthia Cruz. My pronouns are she or they. I am a senior, and my favorite food would have to be enchiladas.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with our amazing middle school students today. We're going to be talking about the College Bound Scholarship, all of the questions that you might have coming into this awesome opportunity, and our awesome college students are going to answer some questions. So the first thing that I would love to know is, what did receiving the College Bound Scholarship mean for you and your family?
So growing up, both of my parents didn't finish college, and I felt like education was a really important part of like my life because seeing them like work so hard every day and like sacrificing so much just so like me and my sister can get an education, I felt like I had to like get education because not a lot of people have that privilege to like pursue it. But yeah, that was like my main motivation for getting an education. So yeah.
For me, like from applying and then staying eligible and now being in college, I didn't think about it in those betweens. But once I actually got here and it's something that helps me financially and pay for my tuition, it's something that I'm really grateful for just because I know I couldn't cover the rest of it and that covers it. But I think it mainly impacts me just because my family doesn't really understand the financial aspect of scholarships and tuition with college. So they probably don't know anything about that. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for sharing that. So what are your most important tips and advice for students who might qualify for the College Bound Scholarship?
Well, at least for me, I wasn't, I just kind of signed up and I thought that was it. I was in for life. So I would have loved to have kept in touch with someone over on College Bound just so they could have made sure if I was still eligible, if I was still meeting all the requirements throughout high school. That way, like I'd still know I'd get it entering college. And I think another thing would be keeping that GPA up high also, which is also one of the requirements for the scholarship.
Yeah, you've got to have that 2.0 or higher to maintain it at most institutions. But again, like Cynthia said, check with your institution because it might be a different number depending on where you attend. But in high school, it's a 2.0. All right, Sarah, do you have any tips that you would like to offer for our middle school students in maintaining eligibility?
Yes. Adding on to what Cynthia said, like keeping connections with a college bound, like someone that works there is really important because my experience was kind of strange. I qualified for the college bound scholarship in middle school, but I didn't hear back from them for several years. So I was like, I kind of forgot about it. But luckily, my parents remembered the scholarship, and then they called them later. But it's really important just to like keep in contact with them and make sure that you still have it, or just to remember it. And also each, well, not each, but like Washington college grants cover a large amount of students' education through financial aid, even if you don't get the college bound scholarship. So
yeah, that's a really good point to make, Sarah, because I think sometimes if a student, you know, gets to the end and they apply, but they don't meet that income eligibility requirement, maybe their parent had a really great year the previous tax season, and they are out of income eligibility there, you still get so much money through your financial aid application, either the FAFSA or the WASFA, because the Washington State College Grant offers money to so many students. So I still encourage folks to apply, even if you may have lost that eligibility. So kind of a more technical question here. Does it matter if you attend in-state or out-of-state or community college, for example? And then how would those decisions affect your college-bound scholarship award? Sarah, let's start with you.
yes, it does matter. The college bound scholarship only applies to institutions in Washington State. So if you're living in Washington or from Washington and you're applying for an out-of-state school, it would not apply to that because it's only in-state. However, the college bound scholarship does apply to different types of institutions, such as public schools in Washington, community college, and technical schools.
Yeah, awesome. And also in some cases, apprenticeship programs and certificated programs as well. Cynthia, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think going off like for the second part of the question, it definitely kind of affects your choice where you're going to and what you're thinking, just because you want to make sure if the college you're interested does accept that scholarship. And this is keeping in mind with private schools, apprenticeship and certification programs. So it's best to directly contact that higher education program and see if they do honor it or not.
Right. I think it's important that you mention kind of those gray area categories, the private school apprenticeship and certificated programs. It can be a little bit of a gray area there, but for the public institution, it honors full tuition, which is different than cost of attendance, which maybe we should talk about briefly, because that's a really good thing to talk about. Cynthia, you're smiling and laughing because I think you have something to relate to this question.
Yeah. Well, so when I actually applied for the college bound scholarship back in middle school, I was having lunch with my friends, and then I was just approached by the new counselor. That was actually the first time I ever met her. And she just said, "Oh, apply for this. It's free money and it will cover all of your college tuition." Well, something like that. It'll cover all your college. And at the time I was probably 12. So of course I'm going to think it covers everything. But now being in college and seeing when I got that financial aid packet that first time, and seeing where it said college bound and it not covering completely everything, it's like, oh, I learned that there's a difference between cost of attendance and tuition. And then there's also this link of getting the information on what exactly the scholarship covers.
Absolutely. How about you, Sarah? Did you have anything else to add to that?
I was the same. My parents thought the same way too. We thought the college bound scholarship would like cover everything. But I learned that it's actually what helps you is that when you apply for the college bound scholarship, you get the financial aid package, like the Pell Grants and stuff. So like the college bound scholarship itself doesn't cover everything,
Right.
but it
Right.
helps qualify you for other stuff.
That's so
Yeah.
important. It's in concert with the Washington College Grant, Pell Grant if you're filling out a FAFSA, and then there's the College Bound Scholarship that honors to fill in any gaps of tuition,
Yeah.
not honored by those two. So it's kind of a funny thing, but it's a really good thing to clarify on. And for the other costs of attendance, like living, your living expenses like housing and food, things like that, transportation, those can be covered by some financial aid as well. Like you will be offered sometimes some money for that, but also there will be other scholarships that you can apply for to cover those various costs. So don't despair. There's lots of free money out there. And if you sign up on your middle school form and you select the little box that says, I agree to let a nonprofit organization work with me, myself or one of my team members here can help you in your high school career, kind of check these boxes, stay on track, help you with your high school and beyond plan, things like that. So there's additional benefits other than the financial aid that comes with it later that really can help students become prepared. Okay. So Cynthia, just so students can kind of have a picture of once they're in college, how they would receive that money, can you tell how you received your award money from the scholarship?
Yeah, so it just directly went to my tuition. It didn't have to go through a bank, or it didn't come in a check to me by mail. It just, as soon as I applied for my college and I chose which place I was going to go to, it just directly went to them.
Perfect. So you didn't have to do anything. It just went right to your tuition.
Yeah. As soon as I got the financial aid packet, I saw it right there.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Sarah, question for you. Once you got to college, was it clear what you needed to do to maintain the scholarship and the eligibility for it?
Yes. Sometimes I didn't remember all the requirements. Like I knew I had to keep a certain GPA during college, like a 2.0. And also in high school, I think you both have to maintain those same requirements, as well as not getting a record and like keeping the income. I forgot, but
I maintain income eligibility. That's exactly right. Yep. You also have to complete your financial aid every year too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And sometimes I would forget, but what I did was I went online to the College Bound Scholarship website, and I'm pretty sure they like list all of the requirements on the page. So
yes, that's exactly right. And we'll include that link at the bottom in our show description so that y'all can check it out later. All right. Cynthia, did you have anything you wanted to add to that question?
Yeah. For me, it was not clear at all. I just thought it would stay. I didn't know. Well, I knew about those requirements to uphold, but I don't know. I just didn't think about them anymore after I was first told.
So understandable. What, keep that in your brain for 5 years?
Yeah, and I was never reminded until now in this organization actually doing the work. So,
yeah.
But I didn't miss anything, so I'm still eligible. But one of the things that I actually did learn from one of our training sessions was that if you're planning to take, I guess you could take up to a year break before entering higher education. You can still qualify and be eligible for the College Bound Scholarship, but you should get in contact with them just to let them know so they don't take that money away.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. I'm going to add on to that as well. If you go into school right after high school, you attend an institution and then you decide you need to take a little break, just contact your institution and let them know, I'm going to take a planned break for a semester or a year. If it's under a year, you will still maintain eligibility for your college bound scholarship. So know that if for any reason you need to do that and you haven't already taken a gap year, you can use that time flexibly within your 4 years that the scholarship will qualify you for. So it allows you to take 12 semesters of credits. So you can kind of sprinkle that throughout. Griselda always says to maximize those credits as much as you can while maintaining like your mental health and your own personal well-being, but the scholarship will cover, will count for every semester that you're attending. So if you take a really light one, you're like 1 PE credit, golden. Your college bound scholarship will cover that and count, but you're not maximizing the benefit of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess like you stated this earlier, is just always reapplying for the financial aid every year. And that opens always on October 1st. And it's better to do it sooner than later because I think you do get more money if you apply earlier. And I think there might be like the early, I don't know what the word is, but deadline.
First come, first.
Yeah, like priority deadline. I think that's November 1st, like just a month later. But it's still open after that. That's just who they'll prioritize if they applied before that.
Yep, that's exactly right. So if you're gonna remember just a few key things from this interview and from the wisdom that Cynthia and Sarah just shared with us, it's maintain a 2.0 GPA, try not to get any felony convictions, maintain income eligibility, which you really don't get to choose because you're the student, and like that's kind of up in the air. That's the wild card piece, but just know that that's a factor. And then reapply for financial aid every year. And then if you have questions, please reach out and ask. You can contact the College Bound Scholarship website. You can contact us. You can contact your institution that you're attending. So reach out for help if you have questions. I think it's comforting to know, like from both you, Sarah and Cynthia, like both of you had questions going in that you didn't have answers to, and you really advocated for yourself. So I think it's an incredible skill to have and exceptionally important in being successful in a higher ed institution. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that we get to see you sometime soon. And if you'd like to check out more information and stories from students, check out our next videos in the Student Speaker Series, and have a great one. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.